Madden 24 was a Madden game. Sorry, I think that's selling it short, but it kind of was. Madden 24, I think, saw some nice improvements in some key areas. I think the improved run blocking at times was a big improvement over, past years' run blocking. So some odd moments from time to time that are just kind of hard-coded into Madden at this point. But there's always loads of things EA can do to make Madden a better game and just a better experience overall. So that's what that list is definitely going to get into. Don't expect any, big, I would say, simple things people say, we make the gameplay, but of course we want the gameplay to be better, but that's not exactly what this list is gonna kind of get into fully. Do we want better animation blending, things like that, better tackling logic, better tackling animations, more realistic tackling animations? Yes. I hope we get those things, but I don't think we will, personally. Those are things I just kind of don't really see happening unless the things that they would have to completely rebuild the engine on, rebuild the game from scratch. I just don't think we're going to see. So don't expect things like that on this list. Kind of somewhat more simpler things, I would say. So let's get into this list here. Number 1 is going to be better user gameplay tuning tools. Madden has probably the worst sliders in sports gaming. Let's get that out of the way. So let's fix them finally. 2K is a game that EA should probably look towards. They have all sorts of different slider options in the game that really allow you to fine-tune the gameplay to how you like. We've seen people in the Madden PC modding community actually address some of the puzzling changes that came from recent patches in tuning done by EA. Sometime in early October, EA nerfed the quarterback speed on scrambles and rollouts. Why? Nobody really knows. I'm sure some pro player lost the tournament and then cried to EA for some changes, and then they got him. So, you know what? Hey, that's fine. But how about instead of all of us kind of being at the whims of a few pro players, a few gambling addicts, how about you just give us the ability to tune those things ourselves? So if we don't like the tunes that you give to the game, how about we get to tune them? So if and when EA actually makes a change to the gameplay on that level, and we can kind of fix it ourselves, we can adjust it back to how we like. When EA makes a change that maybe we feel went a little too far, maybe we think they made a change and they didn't go far enough, right? Maybe you feel some things should be just different compared to how EA did it. Where's the harm in that exactly? Linebacker movement is something that a lot of people are divided on. So how about we have a tuning option for that? Do you think using a linebacker, sometimes kind of turning and covering people, is a little too slow in the game? I personally think so myself. So you know what? How about let me speed it up? Let me speed up the movement when using linebackers. Want them to jump a little bit higher? Tune it yourself. Give me the ability to kind of change their max jump ability a bit. Those are the sort of things that I'm talking about. It's going to be 2024 when Madden 25 comes out. There's no reason for this level of user gameplay tuning to not be in the game. It's just inexcusable at this point. And again, we could clean up a lot of the issues that people have with some of the strange elements in this game. Warp tackles, warp interceptions and pass breakups, block shedding, just to name a few other examples of things that we ourselves could tune for how we think they should be. Again, this would probably make EA's life a lot easier to say, hey, you know what, we made this gameplay change. If you don't like it, you can go here and change it back and kind of change it yourself. I don't think that'd be a bad thing. We know this game has extra tunables under the hood that kind of compound on top of the slider set or underneath the sliders, however you want to say it. We know those tuning abilities are in the game. Let us have access to them and give us a few more sliders to kind of fine-tune the gameplay for how we want. Number 2 on this list is going to be better weather effects and just better weather in general. This is another example of something that the PC modders can somehow do better than EA than themselves. I actually think rain looks decent, but snow looks awful in this game. If I can get a clip of modded Madden 24 snow gameplay, you'll see it, and you'll notice just the night and day difference from what modders can do and what EA can do. And if I'm being honest here, guys, go look up Madden 15 and look up the snow in that game. Madden 15 did weather better. I mean, come on. For example, anyone that's ever if you ever kind of played some football in some snow every now and then, what's something that you can describe it as is kind of besides cold? That's right, wet. Snow is wet. Things get wet and muddy out there when you're playing in snow, when you're playing football in snow. In Madden 15, you actually saw the field get muddy. Players got dirtier when they played in the snow. You don't really see that in Madden right now. It's like the snow's not even out there. It's just kind of a strange thing to me. And I just feel like, you know, and I'm not just talking about, again, the actual effects you see, which are terrible currently. Like, right now it looks like it's barely snowing if you play Madden 24 and you have a snow game. It just doesn't look like it's snowing. And in older games, you could have multiple levels of weather. You'd have light and heavy options for rain and snow. Why can't we have these options now? It's not like you're being completely held back by the PS4 and Xbox One. The PS5 and Xbox Series X and S are more than powerful enough, and more people have those consoles now. The PS5 has crossed 50 plus million sold. Enough people have the next gen consoles. Let's start giving us an actual next gen or real current gen experience, and quit kind of using effects that look like they would still run on a PS4. Another thing I like to see is dynamic weather. It's something that we've kind of wanted for a while. Rains that could start sunny, get cloudy, and then in the fourth quarter it starts raining. Or games that start with rain and end with snow, or games that start with snow and then end clear. Possibilities are endless, and we should have the ability to set these options ourselves, even in franchise mode. So that's number 2 on the list. Better weather effects and just better weather overall in Madden. Number 3 on this list is going to be better crowds. I would say better crowd noise, just better crowds in general. The crowds right now are currently lifeless. I know some people care about commentary crews, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I mute the commentary the first time I fire up a new Madden every year. So mostly what I hear is the crowd, and this is something I'm really in tune with. I basically, when I play Madden, that's what I hear the most, is the crowd. And I don't know if you guys need to send audio crews out to every NFL team's home games to record the crowd. Please do that. You know, get hours upon hours of recording. That will likely last you years, because the audio being used now just sounds like crap. They barely react to anything. You can't tell when a team picked up a big third down. There's no energy from the crowds. Although another thing I like to see, bring back the super fans that you had, I believe, what was it, from Madden 23 and 22. I know you guys did something with the body models, and you could get it to players, you could get it to coaches, but you couldn't get it to those animations, which you worked hard on, and then you had to take out the game. So again, get those back in the game. I know that's probably why those weren't included in Madden 24, but let's bring that back. Let's get more variety of fans too. I honestly kind of liked those cutscenes a little bit. I liked them more because it wasn't a cutscene to a coach, I would say, right? In Madden, we still have this issue where like it's constantly cutscenes to coaches. Not what I want to see. I'm tired of looking at the coach. Show me the fans, show me the players. But yeah, show the crowds. Let's get, you know, again, the game just feels too lifeless at times. Let's get the energy back in these stadiums and in these games. It helps a lot, I think, just for the immersion factor, you know, of the games. I mean, this should be a simple thing to do, in my opinion. DB wide receiver matchup options. This is number 4 on the list. I could have sworn this is something that was in Madden games on the PS2. I could be misremembering things. But either way, this is something that should be in Madden. Let me put my best corner on the other team's best wide receiver for every play, right? Regardless of where they line up. If I was the Packers, so say I'm using the Packers, I want Jaire Alexander on Justin Jefferson all game long. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care where Justin Jefferson is lining up. That is where I want Jaire Alexander. I want him on Justin Jefferson. I feel like this should be an easy add to the game. The game already has coaches adjustments that should kind of do this up, but I feel like at times it just kind of doesn't. So I feel like at times I've set it to have the matchups be like by overall. I feel like at times it just like doesn't work still. It feels like you still just get kind of like weird things. So That's kind of what I want to see. Let me like really just pinpoint, precision, put guys where I think they should be on the field. So give me that option in the game. I think it was already in the game before. Add it back to the game, please. Better CPU time management is something that we need to see in the game. This is number 5 on the list. Better CPU time management logic. The CPU is kind of stupid. I don't want to say kind of. The CPU is dumb when it comes to time management. It's honestly embarrassingly bad. I know the excuses will be that, well, hey, Mike, but sometimes coaches are bad with managing the clock. And yes, that's absolutely true. I watched Mike McCarthy in Green Bay waste timeouts and seemingly, just destroy drives because he doesn't know how to manage time. We saw Nathaniel Hackett versus the Seahawks a year ago, where, you have Peyton Manning and Shannon Sharp like losing their minds because like, what are you doing? Call the timeout. You're burning time off the clock. What are you doing? So, but the AI is honestly even worse than some of that stuff. It's crazy how many times the AI in this game will miss out on points because they ran out of time. I don't know how many times I played franchise mode and I've had a team not be able to get a field goal off. So it's just one of those things that just really takes you out of the game and kind of just reminds you, oh yeah, I'm playing a football game here. And it's just one of those things that just should be fixed. Fix it. It takes you out of the game that you're playing, and it just shouldn't happen in a football game in the current year, and it shouldn't happen next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now. Get this fixed already, guys. Come on. Number 6 on this list, accurate field art and just kind of some other stadium things. EA, get that stupid positive play logo off the field. I get that you did it for PR reasons because like a bunch of your pro players that you always advertise, and back in the day you would send to E3, you send them boxes of Snickers to promote. A lot of those guys ended up like being like racist all the time. They would spend their free time calling people the N-word on like PlayStation Network in messages. And then EA would always have to like, there was like a stretch there for a few years where like EA would always have to like issue apologies because like I believe Pasta Padre would always like easily find these guys just being abhorrently terrible people online, just being straight up racists. And let me just say this right now. Putting that logo on the field doesn't make those pro players any less racist. So let's get into the actual kind of what I would like to see in terms of like accurate field art and other things. One, get the positive play logo off the field. So at times it overlaps on the actual like playoff logo when you're in the playoffs. It looks stupid. Get that out of here. So let's get out to what I actually want to see here with the accurate field art and other stadium things. The Bengals, Dolphins, and Eagles have all worn some really nice alternate uniforms this year. The Bengals did the whiteout thing. The Dolphins, they have the retro old school Dolphins uniforms, and the Eagles had those awesome Kelly green throwbacks. And I'm sure other teams have also started doing this as well, but when they do those throwbacks, they also have alternate fields that kind of go with them, right? They have alternate fields for their throwback uniforms and their alternate uniforms. They even have kind of a throwback field a little bit. The Eagles did that. That doesn't happen in Madden. It's a great touch. I think that really adds to these uniforms that you see in real life. Why isn't that in Madden? Makes them a bigger deal, in my opinion, to actually wear these uniforms, and you also have the field that kind of corresponds and matches it as well. Madden has never had alternate field options, and I know it's because NFL teams very rarely did alternate fields. More teams are doing alternate fields now. Now's the time to kind of get this in the game. NBA 2K has alternate courts because, guess what? In the NBA, before they didn't do alternate courts, right? The courts were pretty static. Now teams they have like, at the very least, every NBA team now has 3 different courts. They have 3, let me think about it, they have 3 different alternate courts now. They have your normal court, you have your City Edition court, and then you have your NBA in-season tournament court. Now, it's not like that in the NFL yet. I'm sure the NFL would eventually say, hey guys, calm down with all the different fields options, but again, teams, they might not change the they might not change the logo at the middle of the field at the 50-yard line, but teams do have different options for what they have on the end zone. Teams kind of change that up a little bit. The end zone art does change. There's like, you know, some teams do like 3 to 4 different end zone arts a season, right? Like it doesn't stay the same, you know, for all of the home games. It does change from time to time. And honestly, this probably only takes like 10 minutes in Photoshop. I've seen modders do this. Again, I have to mention the modders. I mean, EA, the modding community is kind of making you guys look bad on some of these issues where how are unpaid modders able to get the stuff in the game and yet you can't? Come on. This probably takes like 10 minutes for you guys in Photoshop. This is a bare minimum thing in my opinion. Let's get this in the game already and let's just have a more authentic experience on the field. Also, get the actual team scoreboard like stadium graphics that they have in stadium. You used to do it, now you don't. Let's get that stuff again. Come on, let's authentic. Let's get authentic stuff back in the game already, please. Number 7, AI play calling. In Madden 24, I've noticed that the AI in Madden is just way too pass happy. They will just throw the ball, you know, nonstop. And that's not good. My guess for the reason for this is it's probably surfaced recently is because if I had to take a wild guess, is that the playbooks have, you know, they've been adding plays over the course of the past few years. My guess is there's simply now more just a dearth more passing plays than running plays, right? They've been adding in passing plays. And again, play calling is mostly determined by the playbooks rather than maybe roster and the coach that is the head coach, right? So that are calling the plays. So I'm not sure how this could be fixed or remedied, but it needs to be fixed. I don't know if you need to maybe, again, we've kind of asked for coaches to matter, and you have all these different abilities for coaches and franchises. And I don't know if those like carry over around the game as a whole, but you know, again, it shouldn't necessarily, there should be coaches profiles and coordinator profiles, and maybe that should kind of determine, you know, run pass, you know, kind of how that gets balanced out. That should be more on the coaches and things like that. I'd like to see that, because I'll often have games where the CPU will maybe run the ball 7 times total for like just a 4-quarter game. I know I'm not playing full 15 minutes, but yeah, just running the ball that few times, it's just unrealistic. And the CPU throwing, regardless of a game situation at times, it just kills the immersion of the game. This is something that needs to get fixed in Madden 25. Number 8 here is going to be better equipment. The amount of missing or wrong equipment is kind of staggering and kind of just too much for me to list. There's still some missing helmets, and at times helmets kind of just look weird in the game too. There's some helmets that just kind of don't look like their real life counterpart. It feels like you guys scanned like one size helmet for some of these models and then you just kind of roll with that for the rest of them, and it just looks kind of weird at times. I'm sure a lot of helmets, they kind of come with the small, medium, and then, you know, maybe like, or, you know, small, extra small, you know, medium, large, and then, or large, extra large, whatever. Scan more of these helmets in here, get some more details scanned to some of these helmets, because some of these helmets are starting to look kind of off a little bit here. I'm not sure what that's about, but yeah, again, I know that might not sound like the biggest issue, but again, we're talking about authenticity and things like that. You know, you are looking at these players and you see the helmets a lot, so I like them to kind of look somewhat realistic. Also, can coaches get something other than like a plain polo shirt? Again, this might be because of the new skeleton models for, you know, players and coaches. So maybe like a lot of the old clothing and things like that, that was cut for time. But it's another one of those immersion things, in my opinion. They just asked for the game of coaches are wearing kind of authentic stuff. I could have sworn old Madden games used to actually kind of have like the New Year's like gear in the game actually. So you would see guys like actually wearing like the hats and stuff that you would see on the sideline during actual NFL games. That's just a cool little thing to get in the game. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but I feel like it's such a small thing that you should be able to get into the game, in my opinion. Number 9 is going to be kind of a presentation thing. Different scoreboards, or some people score bugs, or some people call them scoreboards, whatever you call them. In Madden 24, EA kind of did something cool the Monday night games, the Thursday night game, and the Thursday night. The Monday night game, the Thursday night game, and the Sunday night games all kind of have different presentation packages almost. Now, they mostly come in the form of like the transition screens, but to me, this showed some effort actually. But like typical with Madden at times, they came up a yard short. Because despite the different transition screens and things like that in these games, they all have the same scoreboard. That would be something that would really start to put Madden on equal footing with other sports games. If they actually, if each of those games had like their own special, unique scoreboard, I think that would be really cool to have. You know, I know some people want official ESPN, Fox, CBS, and NBC like presentation packages. I don't think that'll ever happen just because, one, you would have to pay each of them. Two, you know, maybe not all of them want their broadcast represented in a game, right? You always have to think about that stuff too. It's one thing to say that'd be really cool, but you know, sometimes they just kind of don't want to deal with that, right? They don't want to deal with, you know, they just don't want it, right? Not everyone wants what we want, you know. That's something in life you guys have to get used to dealing with at times. Like, not everyone wants what you want. Not everyone sees things the way we see it, right? In my opinion, that would be great for the game if they had official ESPN, Fox, CBS, and NBC presentation pack, and I guess Amazon as well. But that's just not going to happen. But that doesn't mean EA couldn't make knockoff versions. Hell, for a few Maddens, EA basically had the CBS presentation package in the game, right? EA can pull this off with a little bit of effort, and I'm sure there's someone in the art department dying to do this. And I know there's someone who works at EA now, Deuce Douglas, before. I'll throw a couple concepts that he did way back before he worked at EA, where he basically showed, like, look, you can do all of these networks presentation styles, and you can have them in the game and just, you know, EA them, you know, make them EA, right? You don't actually have to pay Fox. You don't actually have to pay CBS. You don't actually have to pay NBC. You don't actually have to pay ESPN to kind of use their presentation package. So that's number 9, better presentation packages. Let's get this in the game. Different scoreboards, different score bugs. This should be easy to do. Number 10 on this list, as we come to the final one here, is the return of Create a Team. Create a Team has been missing since Madden 12, and as SoftDrink TV has pointed out multiple times, it wasn't removed because of the NFL. Right? The NFL more than likely simply wouldn't want current teams' logos to be included in the Create a Team suite, and would likely probably have some harsh guidelines on user-uploaded logos. That's fine, just give us a bunch of logos to edit. I mean, we know that eventually the college football game coming back will have some version of Team Builder, whether that's like website or actually like built into the game, you know, whatever. This would kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you brought this back. You'd likely have the entirety of the studio down there in Florida working on a Create a Team feature, because both games are going to be sharing this feature and be sharing tech from it, things like that. So there's no excuse for Create a Team to not be in the game anymore. It's been over a decade since its removal in Madden 13. It's time, in that time period, NBA 2K has introduced Create a Team. MLB The Show has introduced Create a Team. FIFA has Create a Club. The NHL series has Create a Team. Madden is the only major sports game that is missing Create a Team. It's just inexcusable. Let's get this in the game finally. Please. It would add a ton of, I think, I don't know, replayability, whatever. It would just add a ton to the game, I think. It would make the game a lot more fun to play, I think, if we had the ability to really create our own teams. So that is something that I want to see in Madden 24. Those are 10 things I want to see in Madden 25, excuse me. So what do you guys think of the list? Let me know down below. What did you think I missed? And what did you think of the list? So leave those comments down below. Be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to hit like, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to have a happy new year. Peace.